So let me be clear right from the very start. This is not about journalism. This is not about free speech. And this is definitely not about a misunderstanding. This is about a line being crossed. Now, Don Lemon says that he was just doing journalism, but the Department of Justice says otherwise. They say civil rights, federal laws might have been violated. Now, when the Department of Justice starts mentioning the FACE Act and the Ku Klux Klan Enforcement Act in the same sentence as your name, then this is no longer about journalism and commentary. This is a warning of what's to come. Now, a church service was disrupted, a place of worship was interfered with, but now federal officials are saying that the intent might not even matter. So even if he was there just to follow the group that invaded this house of worship, it doesn't matter. You were still there and you were a party to it. We saw that because that defense didn't work for J6 defendants. It's not going to work now. So that's what I tell people. You got to be careful what you wish for. Now, because the law is clear, you do not get to claim journalism when participating in or amplifying conduct that interferes with the protocol of civil rights, especially when they're protected civil rights. Today, we're going to break down exactly what happened and what laws are in play, but also why the Department of Justice is putting someone on notice and why that's more important than what people may realize. And for the case that can set precedents on how to protest, media, and churches intersect going forward. So this is going to let people know how they can conduct themselves and how they cannot going forward. If this is not dealt with swiftly and harshly, there will be more copycats. We're starting to see more people more people are attempting to aggress law enforcement. They're making veiled threats. The new fake Black Panthers with their Fed talking about putting holes in police officers. If somebody doesn't, if law enforcement does not step in, then these people are going to be emboldened, and then there really will be a kinetic, a physical civil war. See, right now it's just a lot of words. But once people start shooting guns, then the law enforcement is going to be on edge and these fake agitators. You got to think about it. These people are showing up to these events. They want to trick you as a resident into doing something stupid. They're there to inspire stupidity. Why else would these Black Panthers, these fake Black Panthers, you've never heard of any of these people making any noise before. So what were they doing 2 weeks ago? They had a job. They were just working at like an auto parts store. They were changing oil. Where were they 2 weeks ago? You don't know. Nobody does. But what they're trying to do is encourage Black people or anybody in those crowds to basically commit suicide by cop. They want you to do exactly what Renee Good did. Hopefully you're smarter than that. But let's take a listen. Let's look and see how this all started, shall we?
This is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up some.
Wait, is it Operation Pull Up or Pull Out? Pause.
Somewhere. They don't expect us to come there. And then we disrupt business as usual.
Now, look around. Do you think they would ever do this at a Black church? Do you think they would ever do this at a temple? Do you ever think they would do this at a synagogue? They're not at this church because they want to protest against Christianity. And they're not at that church because the pastor works with ICE. They're at that church because they hate white people. This is about intimidating and trying to build up enough courage to attack white women and children. See, they're deathly afraid of white men. That's not going to happen. But the women and children, they will definitely go after and target. And they have been. Look at the women on the buses, the women on the subway, the women on the trains. They choose their targets. These people are cowards. But when you're watching what they're doing, this is racially motivated. This isn't about church. This isn't about religion. They're going after these people because they're white. And because they know if white people defend themselves, they're automatically deemed as racist and oppressive and use all these weird words. So as a white person, you're more so just a sitting duck if you are in one of these liberal areas.
So right now it's kind of mayhem. We're not part of the activists, but we're here just reporting on them.
Now, at no point in time did God or Jesus tell you to never defend yourself. Paul historically carried a sword when he was next to Jesus in his travels. You must certainly protect the women and children of your congregation. If men barge into these buildings, you must be willing to die to protect the women and children from them. See, when they rushed into this church, you had no idea if they were armed or not. And for you to just sit back as a man and idly wait to see what these terrorists who bombarded this church, when you're waiting to see what they're going to do, you basically are gambling with the lives of the women and children, your parishioners, who you should be protecting. All this bullshit about being a pacifist or nonviolent, it's all made up in your mind. They've convinced you over the past 15 years that self-defense is paramount to racism. It is not. I don't care what race the other people are. You must protect yourself and those who depend on you. At the end of the day, you guys are the men. And there's a bunch of women and children in there, and you let these people storm into your church and surround you? Are you kidding me? Nobody should have been able to make it out of that room after barging in. That should have been the last church they ever aggressed. To surround you and your parishioners? Well, historically, how have these situations ended up with everybody in the church dead? Are you serious? And you let these people come in and just talk? You don't know if they're going to just talk or not. You don't know if one of them might be a rebel and pull out a weapon. You guys should have never let your guard down. And I keep stressing this. We are not in Kansas anymore. The times of peace are over. This is war. And there is no going back to coexistence. That's over.
Did they explain to you why they're here?
They did not.
They said that there is someone here in Easterwood, someone who is a member of ICE, and he's a pastor of the church.
Our church had gathered for worship, which we do every Sunday. We asked them to leave, and they obviously.
It doesn't matter if somebody from the church worked with law enforcement. Law enforcement is the law of the land. The federal government is the law of the land and above. There is nobody above them. They're going to have to drop the hammer. We can't allow this, because if this right now, the entire country is watching what happens in Minnesota. And if they become too emboldened in Minnesota and they can get away with this, there's not going to be any way to contain the other states and these violent leftists, these ideologues, the gay and the black communities in these other cities. There's not going to be any way to stop them from burning our cities down for nothing. They don't care about the illegals. They wanted an excuse. At the end of the day, removing illegals, the number one beneficiary is the black community. They're the ones that complain about not being able to get jobs and no one wants to hire them. Now, because the illegals are gone, everyone's hiring black people. They're the ones who are available for those types of jobs, and they're being hired. They're back on the road. Even the rent in black neighborhoods is going down because of the illegals. The bubble is burst. They're being kicked out. Rents are going back to normal, starting to stabilize. So this isn't about they care about the country or what's best for them. This is about them following orders. They're ideologues. They're weaponized. This is insane. And then people have to fight back and defend themselves. If not, you're just a sitting duck. What are you going to do? What if they just came to your house? You're going to let them just barge into your home? This is your house of worship. You should treat it with the same type of veracity that you would treat someone breaking into your private residence. It is the same thing.
We have not lived.
So this is what the First Amendment is about the freedom to protest.
There's a varying array of views in this church on politics of immigration. Recognize the complexity of the issue.
This shows you just how divided America is. When you look at the protesters here, and then you look at the people there who are praying, and you know what was the interesting thing? If these two groups could just get together, they might figure out what to do.
I don't know.
There's nothing to figure out. The laws are clear. Now, the way it works in the real world for adults, if you don't like the rules, you leave. You don't fight and try to change the rules or think you could overthrow the government and create your own rules. That has never worked for anyone. You leave and you go find somewhere to live that better suits your personal feelings and agenda. Why are you in this church? It's because they're white, and you perceive white women, children, and these men as being weak. They wouldn't do this at a black church. They wouldn't do this at a mosque because they know those men at these mosques, would whoop that. They will put they will put sandals to ass. There would be no conversation. They're only there because they know they can successfully intimidate white people and badger them and call them names. And because of the media depicting them as calling them supreme while also calling them bigots, and they're just afraid to do anything. That's why JD Vance, it was so important of him to say, we no longer have to apologize for being white. This is what JD Vance was talking about for anybody who was unclear of what he meant.
I still agree with everything that's going on in the Twin Cities right now, but I don't think it's good to fight fire with fire. I think it's good to speak up, and I think it's good to protest, but I think it's better to do it in a peaceful way.
Yeah, you don't just barge into my church and decide you want to protest. You don't just protest where you want to. That's not how this works. And you know what? It seems like people are using our Constitution against us, and that can't be allowed either. That's what I'm saying. This is leading to a point where all the normalcy is going to be out of the window, and they're going to be a first time for everything. They're pushing people to this point. And it seems like there's got to be foreign actors from outside the country that want to see this happen, because where else is all this coming from? It's stemming from somewhere.
Interesting to watch this guy here. Look, hugging his kid. And, you know, I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. They think.
Now, that black woman has no husband and no children. Don Lemon he has a husband. He has no children. The people that the lesbian black chick with the glasses on behind her, also no husband and no children. You're literally fighting to protect your family from people who are envious and jealous of the fact that you have a family and they want your family to die. They literally admit it and they say it. I'm not being hyperbolic. This is their words. This is their intent. They're coming for your kids. They hate the fact that you have a family. So you're protecting your family from these people just because they're in the United States. Even if they were born here and they speak English, does not mean that they are Americans. We have to know that there's a difference between them. These people are terrorists.
You lost and this didn't accomplish anything, and you went into their house, the house of the Lord.
The reality is the house of the Lord is a place where love lives. It's not a place where you can have a pastor masquerading as the director for the field office of ICE in St. Paul.
Yes, you can. You absolutely can. As a pastor, it's your job to want to protect your flock, but that requires public safety. If ICE is law enforcement, then that means that their job ultimately is public safety. These people don't want anybody who's black or gay to ever be arrested for any crime at all. That cannot be allowed. People must be held accountable. We cannot let them shame us into basically putting down our weapons and letting them just run over our country and destroy everything. If you let that black woman have the opportunity, she would give this country to the Chinese and wouldn't think twice about it. If a foreign nation invaded tomorrow, the black and the gay community would not fight on the side of the United States. I hope I am clear. Let's go to the next clip, shall we? This is just embarrassing.
Yesterday, I went into a church with Nakima Armstrong and I protested these white supremacists. The pastor of the church.
It's sickening when I see a white man himself talk about other whites being white supremacists. You, sir, are also white. There's no difference between you and these people. Not that one anybody can look and tell. Even if you're gay, you're still white. Now, in your mind, you're not white, you're gay. But for you to turn on your own people to virtual signal, hoping that this other group will embrace you, they won't. You're next on the menu. If they're ever able to win the fight against them, you're next. That's why people don't understand. We are in uncharted territories before, but they are desperate. But they're all in. Think about it. With their illegals being removed, there's no chance of them winning any more elections. Illegal voting fraud is how they've even been able to compete all these years. They don't have nothing else to lose. It's everything all in. And all this is a psyop. We have to understand what's happening, but we also have to prepare. This is coming to a city near you.
There's a fucking ICE leader in the city. How can you be a fucking pastor and be a fucking ICE agent?
Easy.
Fuck them. They want to come after me? Fuck them. How can they live so comfortably while the fucking people from Somalia that are in this country legally, that have fucking citizenship, can't even go to their mosque and pray. How?
They have to go home. This is no longer up for debate. The fraud is too much. Their immigration paperwork was forged. They became naturalized off of fraud. We've already been through the files. We've discovered it. The Minnesota government covered it up. Just like they did with the financial fraud, the same thing happened with the naturalization immigration fraud. We have to restore law and order. And what that means is we're having to rip the Band-Aid off, because you know what? We don't have time to just let things heal on their own. Things are getting worse. We're not going to sit here and be emotional. Trump's not worried about a third term. We must drop the hammer. This guy right here is basically calling himself being aggressive. But at the end of the day, he's not going to fight law enforcement. And honestly, I heard he's already been picked up. I'm going to double check this. I think his name is William something.
They deserve any fucking different. Fuck those fucking Nazis. Come and get me, Pam Bondi, you fucking traitorous bitch. All power to the people.
Yeah, the people are the ones who are working law enforcement. And yes, all power to the people who are actually citizens of this country. Everyone else that was here at the leisure of the government, that leisure has been ended. Now you must be sent back to where you are from. We don't really need illegal immigration no more. We see the results. We see what it did to our economy, to our communities. We, as the American people, voted to reverse all of those actions. And that's why we heavily voted for Trump. Just because we're not out there fist fighting these people yet does not mean that we are complacent in what the left is doing. We're just more interested in seeing how far they're going to go. But we're also hoping that our law enforcement is strong enough to repel these people, and it doesn't require the general public to become involved. We are heavily armed. We are more armed than these people. These people that we will be fighting on the left, they don't believe in guns. Only some of them do. The rest of them have been trying to get us to disarm, so they're not going to be armed. The problem is with people like us on the right that have children. If you push us to that point, there's not going to be we're not going to humor any calls for peace or mercy. That's why the safest bet is to stop what you're doing, go your own separate way. But if once we turn that way, and we understand that there's an existential threat where they're basically calling for our extermination, then the extreme levels that we will go to protect our women and children, unfortunately, men like this, they couldn't even imagine how far we will take this and how far we would go. We are praying that it doesn't come to that because we understand our true nature. And it's like they're intended on pushing us to that point, and we're hoping. I'm hoping that it doesn't go there. We're calling for cooler heads to prevail, but look at this. Yeah, his name is William Kelly, and I believe he was picked up already. But they're doing this because they want to intimidate white people. They see white people as being the cause of all their problems. They remember they feel that there's a white person tormenting them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They have a mass formation psychosis of extreme delusion, and there's really no snapping them out of it. It's a cult. But look what they're doing. Look how they're coming in here. And the fight should have already started by now.
Renee, go! Renee, go! Renee, go!
And the fact that all the men and boys in that congregation did not immediately start attacking these people that invaded their church, that scares me. It shows that not only are they picking their targets, but they've really picked the right ones. They knew who was going to be a pacifist and passive. This is not good, because this is showing that you can literally attack these people when they're most vulnerable, because a lot of people are not going to be armed in a church. I think that's going to have to change if this is a possibility. You know, Minnesota is a very weird place. It's like the San Francisco of the Midwest. It's a very mixed batch of people. It's just a little too dangerous, I think, for the children and for the women. For this to happen and all these men just stand there. What are you afraid of? There's no police. There's no one's going to come arrest you because you fist fight and you attack these people that invaded your church. You're not going to get in trouble. There is nobody. You have the protection of the federal government. Self-defense is paramount to being an American. You don't know what these people's intentions were when they invaded your church. You have no clue. And then they're letting everyone be surrounded. This is horrible.
Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you?
Those are not your people. The people in this church are his people. The rest of you are not. The illegals are not. The immigrants are not. His people are those in this church. Not everyone. This is not good. This is not good at all. And then obviously Lemon starts to feel the heat and he wants to weasel himself out of it. It's not going to work.
The MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this assistant attorney general, I don't know, something Emmett Dillon or whatever. So
Heart me, Dylan.
I have no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church.
No, Don Lemon. Remember, in the beginning of the video, you said you were invited to this secret gathering that met up outside of this church. And they literally announced their names and what they were going to do. And you went along with them. There is no way you're not an accomplice. You are going to be held accountable for this. And I hope they put him in solitary confinement for months, just like they did the J6 people with those trumped up trespassing charges. They have to do the same to this gay pedo piece of shit named Don Lemont, or whatever the hell his name is. He has to go. You know, he's literally been an agitator and a liar against the administration and the president for years. And once upon a time, I used to listen to him. And then I found out he was lying to me because I went and watched a video. I watched him describe a video. Then I went and watched the video on my own. And I was disgusted at how I figured out that I had been lied to for years and I should have been doing my own research. This guy has to go.
So we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it.
Nah, you can't embed yourself with a criminal organization committing a crime, trespassing, and intimidating people as they serve. I mean, even though you're black, you can still be charged with the Klux Klan Act and the FACE Act. That doesn't mean shit. None of that means anything anymore at all.
It's called journalism. First Amendment, all that stuff. All of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist.
All you people that believe, so he doesn't believe in it. He's literally wielding it against us. He doesn't believe in it. He's using it against us, hoping that one day to basically we'll get frustrated with people like him abusing it and we'll just get rid of our Constitution. He's wrong. We'll get rid of him long before we get rid of our Constitution. We'll get rid of them all before we do that.
There you go. So why don't you talk to the actual person who is in charge of the organization and whose idea it was to have the protests at the church before you start blaming me for stuff for which you have no idea. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
None of that's going to matter. He is going to be charged.
No, the last.
I hope he is prosecuted and convicted. I don't necessarily see a way out for him. I don't.
About looking at the young people who are exiting the sanctuary and saying how they're traumatized, they're disturbed, and that's what's necessary in a protest like this. And I think that's just disgusting. I think that we as Christians are never promised peace or comfortability in this life. We know that people will be against us, but that does not mean that we shouldn't call people out. when they do something like that, or when they say something like that against us. And I think that that is just a terrible thing to say about anyone, that they should be traumatized for the sake of a political agenda. So I am not on board with what he was doing there. I don't think he should have been there. I don't think he had the right to be there. He was part of the group that disrupted our worship service, even if he was just documenting it. Frankly, I don't really care if he was there to just document or if he was there to protest. He was there, and he was part of what disrupted our worship service.
Yeah, that wasn't a protest. That wasn't a protest at all. That was intimidation. And I'll be honest, those people in the audience, the parishioners, the men, should have been more than happy to go down in a blaze of glory defending their church. They don't even have security because there should be enough men there to do it. But people being that weak and passive and non-aggressive, it's un-American. It's extremely un-American. It's like they just sat there with nobody put their hands up. Nobody got in front of the children. Nobody aggressed these people and tried to push them out. They were just sitting there, just waiting for these people to decide if they wanted to kill them or not. You know, and it's crazy. All the attacks are always only towards Christians. Everyone has all the smoke for Christians. They don't talk about any other religion because they know that Christianity is a powerful belief system. And they want it torn down because it's one of the foundations of our republic. I mean, we can't just sit here and be defenseless. We can't. We literally cannot allow this to continue. And if they don't do something now, like right now, if we're not waking up to arrest tomorrow of Don Lemon publicly being perp walked, then this can continue in different parts of the country and we lose everything. I don't think Hegseth and Trump are going to allow that to happen. I don't think Dylan or our Pam Bondi, I don't think they're going to just allow this to ride. You know, we have federal supremacy. You don't got to follow the rules. You make them. Like and subscribe, share the video. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're on our road to 100,000 subscribers, so please like the channel, subscribe to the page. I'll be back on with another topic shortly. America first and America.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.